Falling trees, it's hard to breathe, but I will keep fighting. With broken walls, nowhere to fall, but I will keep climbing. I can't see, I'm in the dark, surrounded by sharks, but cloud over me. I can't see, I'm in the dark, surrounded by sharks, but cloud over me. Just take me home, just take me home. Now the sky is falling, don't let it fall, don't let me go. Now the sky is falling down, 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 down on me. Down, 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 down on me. Now the sky is falling. I can't see, I'm in the dark, surrounded by sharks, big cloud over me. I can't see, I'm in the dark, surrounded by sharks, big cloud over me. Now the sky is falling down, 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 down on me. Down, 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 down on me.
I tell you a story about me and you, out on the water, surrounded by the blue. They scream that only I'll be saved. They toss off the line, but I just let it float away. Yeah, I'll let it float away. I'll let it float away. I'll let it float away, float away, float away. Yeah, I'll let it float away. I'll let it float away. I'll let it float away. story about you and me. Stuck on the water, the waves are getting deep. They scream that only I can breathe. They toss out the mask, but it's a little out of reach. Yeah, I let it float away. I let it float away. I let it float away. Float away, float away. Yeah, I let it float away. I let it float away. I let it float away. There isn't any more to say. If you're not with me, I'd rather not be saved. There's no decision to be made. If you're not with me, I'll just let it float away. I'll let it float away. I'll let it float away. Yeah, I'll let it float away. Float away, float away. Yeah, I'll let it float away. I'll let it float away. I'll let it float away. Yeah, I'll let it float away. I'll let it float away. I'll let it float away. Float away, float away. Yeah, I'll let it float away. 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 I'll let it float
And welcome to the 2018 LPL Spring Split. It's week 4, day 2 from China. Well, at least the players are in China. We, though, on the official broadcast ourselves are based across the globe. I'm Alexander Opal Archambault, joining me, as always, on the Tuesday and Wednesday early mornings here in NA. It's Stewartson McLeod as we're getting set for the continuation of the conference-to-conference round robin that started up this week, as we are, we've already kind of gone through a third of the season, Sin. It's been a fast couple weeks so far.
It's some surprising results thus far. We can see RNG still sitting second from bottom in the East, despite picking up that win against Team WE yesterday, and it's been those 2 wins here for the East over the West, and it's looked like a bit of a mismatch thus far, but we want to see if there's going to be some more of the big hitters from the West. We've got Snake going up against LGD later on today, looking to try and get revenge. And the first match of the day, VICI Gaming, one of the current worst team in the East, going up against the side of Suning Gaming. Sorry, the worst team in the West, rather, going up against Suning Gaming, who have a couple wins under their belt. They did pick up a win against Top Sports, and they've picked up some individual match wins when they've looked fairly strong at times, but still have shown a lot of issues.
You can see that man on your screen, Easy Hoon, looking to try and help his team find their first win. And, you know, we kind of look at these conference-to-conference round robin, and these bottom-tier teams, this is where they've kind of been said, hey, you know what, this is your opportunity to try and pick up some much-needed points, and especially considering you only do this round robin once against the other conference, so you only have one opportunity to secure as many points as you can against these teams, and especially if you want to try and climb your way back up for that second round robin in a couple weeks, you gotta be starting to look at trying to get some wins on the lower ranked teams across the board. That, or maybe find some upsets. Even this matchup against SNG, you know, SNG's coming in at a 50-50 record, you know, 3 wins, 3 losses. You have an opportunity to try and do it. Even VICI Gaming, we saw them last time around, they were able to take a game off EDG when they played proactively.
Yeah, we were saying last time we were actually casting them, we wanted to see them play this more proactive style in the early game, try and get some advantages, and play a roaming support that can make plays, try and get some more playmaking champions across the map, and we saw just that with them locking the Bard support in that series, but unfortunately didn't quite work out for them. Pulled out against EDG with a more proactive comp, having the Sejuani as well, having the Callista for the mid-game pressure, and it worked out. They managed to pick up that win, and they look significantly stronger as a roster, and we want to see them pull out more of that. They've put Long back in the top lane over Meow, and we're going to have to see if he can have that Shen pick be big for him again, but Suning Gaming going to be taking that one away from him, denying him that pick that was so strong for him last time out.
As you guys can see, we're going to go ahead and get into our first champion select of the night. SNG on your red side, VICI Gaming on the blue, and those bans coming out. You got the Zoe, you got the Camille, you got that Jarvan going targeted toward SNG. Meanwhile, the Azir, the Kog'Maw, those have been kind of steady bans throughout the season so far. Kog'Maw seeing a resurgence so far in Season 8. VICI Gaming going to go ahead, lock in that Sejuani. Going to have a nice way of engaging in the jungle early.
These are going to be the last global games of 8.1 today and tomorrow here, as China's still waiting on the Chinese New Year to move on to the 8.2 cycle.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting one, because what ends up happening with Week 4, it kind of gets split up, because we're going to have, you know, we had Sunday's games, then we have now, or not Sunday's games, we had Monday's games, and then we're having Tuesday and Wednesday's games, but after that, they actually go on a 2-week break due to Chinese New Year. They like to try and celebrate that, of course, and, you know, it gives a player the time for the teams to regroup and maybe come back even stronger, but like you mentioned, we're going to be coming back still on Week 4 on a Thursday and Friday that are going to be played on 8.2, so you're going to have kind of a split up here in the meta, which is a little bit awkward. Either way, SNG going to be locking in that Ezreal for Fury. We saw him pop off on the champion before getting a triple kill and getting denied that Quadra very lately. Did end up securing the kill on the Shy, but we've seen him do well on this before. VICI Gaming locking into Callista and Rise.
Interestingly, we can see Knight follow up the Cassiopeia here, because we can see this has really been a fair counter pick for a lot of mid laners who used to be good at the Cassiopeia anyway. They just continue to go, okay, this was the counter pick to Rise in the past. We can still use it in a very similar way, even though it doesn't destroy him like it used to. Having the ability to pressure out so effectively in terms of the early laning phase can be so well utilized, and it's not quite 8.2 yet, where you have the changes to aggro, where when you're Eing the opponent, then the minions start aggroing to you. And those changes, as I've been talking about to some people recently, is really impacting top lane in the way you want to go for aggressive charades, and it's kind of enforcing, quite fittingly, with the Chinese New Year, the year of the dog champ in the top lane. But interestingly here again, we can see Martin going back for that Callista that he was so good on against EDG, that he did have some big moments on, and that's already 2 of the picks that they saw the success on, with Crash going back onto the Sejuani as well. So they want to be playing this more skirmish-oriented mid-game style. The Bard is gone now as well, so that is one of the key picks during that style. So they need to find another proactive support. We could see something like the Thresh come through, to be honest, but we need something from Caveman. Even if he's playing Ornn and then switching the summoning spellbook to TP and make an ult play.
You can see those bans coming in from VICI looking to target up toward that top lane for Xiaoal. Not going to be able to play that Vladimir with the Alawi, and now SNG, what do they want to try and lock on in here? Some of the junglers were banned out, but it was mainly focused on the top through the bans, and that's going to be the Zac getting locked in for Hackers in there with the 75% win rate on the champion, so a nice pickup here for SNG.
Yeah, it's going to be looking for those unique gank pathings like flying in from the Raptor pit to try and catch out EasyHoon. Obviously, EasyHoon going to have the safety in the early game of the stopwatch combo to be able to get away. But Zac can provide a complete onslaught of ganks to the mid lane without really being able to be seen. He can gank all the way from, as we said, the Raptors to the other side of the lane, so you can hang around on the correct side of the lane, play around where your jungler is, play around where the enemy jungler is, and it still not matter with Zac able to perform the way he does.
Now, we've seen this pick be popular for the last couple of weeks. Of course, the Ornn up into the top lane, actually getting picked into the Braum that was shown earlier by SNG. So we're going to have to see whether or not, Yoon can stop that Call of the Forge God, or he's going to be trying to save that for later on during the fights. Also going to be locking in then Alistar for Caveman.
Gangplank and Gnar still available. There's some choices to be made here for Xiaoal of what he wants to take into this Ornn pick. But taking these big team fighting picks away and making sure VICI Gaming has this more team fight oriented composition around that sort of mid-game skirmish point where you have the ultimates available, you can get some big CC combos and try and catch out multiple opponents. This is what they wanted to run against EDG. This is what they've been trying to mix it up with, trying to make it work recently. And now they're going to be given another opportunity to see if they can show up with it.
The Gnar's going to round out that comp, so we're going to be seeing a lot of action, a lot of die potential actually coming out from SNG if they wanted to. If they want to rotate that Gnar around the map, we'll have to see whether or not the lanes are going to go into their favor, but for VICI Gaming, this is a much-needed series win if you can find it. You'd like to try and start off with that Game 1 victory and try and make it a little bit easier for yourself in the rest of the series.
They've got to be feeling at least a little bit better after that previous series, picking up their first win in individual matches of the season, individual games rather of the season, and breaking that 10-game loss streak. So having that off their shoulders, now they can look forward to the future and start thinking about how they can move forward from there. We've got Chinese New Year coming up, we've got that big break, people looking to come back revitalized, and VICI Gaming is going to have to be one of these teams looking to make a big change in their mentality, in the way they're playing, to be able to come back stronger. As this team was only recently promoted from the LSPL, they don't want to be going back there straight away.
No, you don't really want to. Again, they are franchised in here, so of the 14 teams that came in during the preseason before Season 8, you know what? It's not out of the question for them to look for their first game win. We saw top.
It's more to the point, the players going back to the LSPL.
Yeah. Let's be honest. Yeah, exactly. EasyHoon. He doesn't want to be back there. You don't really want to be saying that against, the man that used to be able to say he subbed for Faker before.
He was chosen over Faker on many occasions.
His play style fitted the team a little bit better during that championship run, but either way, that's in the past, and we're here in the present here in Season 8 as we load on into the rift for Game 1 between VICI Gaming and Suning Gaming. Both teams looking to start off their Week 4 with a bang, perhaps, and try and find those early advantages early, even though looks like most people will be sticking around. Yoon might be looking for a slight little bit of aggression, but just kind of being a ward at the moment.
Just trying to scout people out, it seems like. But I do like the bot lane choice here from VICI Gaming. They've gone for something aggressive early on. They've got that level 2 all-in potential, and it's really going to be able to punish an Ezreal before he has the ability to use that E to be able to get away. And they're going to be looking to try and punish him as best they can and stay in the lane as long as possible with those 4 Summoners spellbooks here from VICI Gaming. This is interesting because we've seen multiple times now lower tier teams opt in for a lot of these summoners where they all go for the same thing.
little bit of an invade coming out here, very delayed. You not gonna be able to land that Winter's Bite as you had Knight also coming on down. And yeah, like you mentioned, we got 4 unsealed spellbooks coming out from VICI Gaming. You can also take a look across on those items. You got 4 refillable potions. You don't usually see that too often. On top of it, they're gonna have the 4 stopwatches. SNG though, on their half, actually not running the spell book this time around, so won't have that ability to be swapping out the summoner spells. Only going to have that 1 teleport available to them, and SNG looking to play a little bit more standard. And you can see that fan vote. VICI Gaming got a little bit of the fans behind them after the performance over EDG, and SNG are going to have to look to sway that back in their favor, possibly with a game 1 win.
It's with the 4 summoner spellbooks and the 4 refillable potions here, it's kind of reminiscent of what I saw from LGD when they were struggling, when they all went in on the stopwatch, all 5 members. It's everybody just trying to buy into the same thing. Everybody thinking this is the strongest. If we all buy into it, we will all be stronger.
If we all take the thing that's considered broke, we should be able to win, right, guys? That's maybe the mentality there, just trying to play.
If it's broken, they don't fix it.
Yeah.
Then make them fix it.
This is actually interesting from Knight. We kind of see that precision rune pop up every once in a while, especially with that Cassiopeia, that you're looking for that all-in potential during the early levels. Get back your mana at that point. I would have to, I think, is that Presence of Mind? I would have to double check the rune name.
It's the whenever you level up, you get free mana for a few seconds, so you can utilize as many spells as you can. You can push the wave a bit easier once you hit that level up point, and it can be good for some pressure. So it's definitely really good in the laning phase. Works similar to a Lost Chapter early on, and it means in these first few levels, you don't really need that Lost Chapter because it works in a very similar way. But also, once you get beyond that, once you get towards the later stages, whenever you get a kill, ooh, crash.
Yeah, going a little bit low there. Hacker just uses the explosive cone to get back on over into the Dragon Pit, and gotta wonder there for Crash. He was the one initiating that little bit of a skirmish over by the wall, so maybe he'll think twice about going against that Zac early on here, and you can even see it down in that bot lane. Fury already getting his sacks of gold, starting to get himself a nice little bit of a CS lead, about a wave and a half, and this is the Kleptomancy that has been nerfed. We're still on that 8.1 like we mentioned during the Champions Select, haven't moved on over to 8.2, so Klepto's still getting full value on the Ezreal.
And definitely gonna be giving him a lot of gold as we see him picking up those gold sacks and that mini Berserker potion as well, but all the same, you got to be thinking about how well VICI Gaming are going to be able to keep up the pressure, be able to constantly teleport back to bot lane, even when pressured out.
Look at this though, Caveman, he's going low, the Ignite ticking on down, needs one more auto, and that's going to be Fury picking up first blood on SNG in this bot lane, and already it showed Martin was having trouble, but in that mid lane, Knight having to use the cleanse right there, but he's got Hacker around the corner, and that's going to be enough to force Crash off him, so early first blood going to go on over to SNG.
Yeah, Crash could have looked for really the flash on top of him, get the fleet footwork, get a couple auto attacks, but he assumed that Hacker would be just around the corner, didn't want to overstep his bounds, and that got him away. As we see the all-in here from Caveman came through, gets stunned up, and it's just the chain down from the Braum Ezreal combo, where you can mitigate a lot of that damage done by Martin by having that shield up, blocking so much damage, and making sure that your Ezreal is completely safe at the same time.
And that's not what you want to start off your lane with, is those gold sacks on top of the first blood. That Ezreal is probably sitting close to about 700 gold ahead of Martin already. You can even see that across the scoreboard, as they're already sitting about 700 gold ahead of VICI Gaming, and he's already got that sheen, he's got that tier before the 6-minute mark. SNG can always be looking to play aggressively.
Finding the early game advantages that they really needed with the composition they have, because we talked about the mid game when it gets to that press R to win point here for VICI Gaming. So trying to get some advantages in the skirmishes before that, so you can have those 1v1 pick potentials and be able to net map-wide advantages. It's going to dissuade a lot of the pressure that VICI Gaming do have. They're going to be more afraid to go in for these plays when they think that they've got an Ezreal that's particularly strong on the opposing team, or they have to focus him harder and make sure he is off of the map immediately when they get to that point in the game.
You see SNG with that advantage toward the bot side of the map, already laying down the ward coverage around that Mountain Drake for us to get started off with here in game one. Not gonna have the infernal luck that we've been having in the LPL. So we've seen a lot of those to start off series, but either way, that's going to give them the knowledge and the vision of Crash and allow Hacker to now start making plays toward the bot side of the map, even with Knight.
So Knight, yeah, playing very well in terms of the pressure he's gained on this Cassiopeia pick. Been using that presence of mind well to push the wave when he can. Not really having to worry about the rise just yet, and having gone through the cleanse, having had to burn it on a gank, is going to be sitting in a little bit less comfortable position. But with that phase rush, we look towards the late game team fights and think he doesn't really need something like a Ghost when that's going to help him fly into the enemy team.
Yeah, you see the True Shot barrage coming on out just as he had a decent chunk of damage onto Martin as he was face tanking that in front of the minions. So Fury starting to stack up a bit of the lead here in that bot lane with that first blood. Also on top of that, now sitting about 2 waves ahead of Martin. You feel like VICI, they gotta maybe decide to make a play here. You got that Sejuani, you also got EasyHoon in that mid lane if he's able to push back the wave, but it just feels like they're being out pressured here early, and VICI Gaming, they gotta make proactive plays. That's where they saw the success come out in the EDG series. Might be looking for a dive here onto Xiaoal. He is in that mini Gnar farm. We'll have the Mega Gnar farm actually quite shortly as he's just looking to clear out that wave with the boomerang. Crash taking a long time up here, and if he doesn't find a play, he's been wasting a lot of time. Xiaoal, he says something's up here, guys. Ends up going to have that Call to Forge God used right on top of him, and Hacker gets denied entrance. Gonna be the Glacial Prison, but you got the rest of the team roaming up. It won't be a dive coming on through between the 2 towers. Knight also positioning himself toward the top side of the map.
Crucially gonna deny that one away from Hacker, and he's not gonna be able to turn that gank around. But it was really too delayed there. Long should have been working hard to push the wave as best he could. He had the stopwatch available, so he needed to be the one taking aggro. He needed to be the one starting that dive, and he was far too late on it. Was trying to rely on Sejuani to start it up, and means that they're going to have to walk out of that one empty-handed, having burned both of the ultimates from their players.
I'm gonna go ahead, control ward gets cleared by him. So see here now the vision from SNG has kind of deteriorated toward that bot side of the map a little bit more defensively, realizing that Crash went for that invade and tried to make a play up top against Xiaoal. Still though, a quiet game nonetheless here as we just get close to that 9.5 minutes. Still a 1,000 gold lead. Long gonna go aggressive here, and Xiaoal, he jumps right on over. Crash does not have the ultimate, but Xiaoal can't even turn into his Mega Gnar form as he gets taken down, and VICI Gaming are able to respawn with a kill up in top lane.
And without the vision pressure available, without any knowledge of where the opposing jungler is, Xiaoal goes all in for an all-in trade and ends up costing him his life. Maybe if he was one-on-one there, he had the opportunity to try and outplay his Mega Gnar. Instead, Crash arrives, puts him down, and puts him in his place. And they get that kill they wanted just a few minutes later.
Knight gonna go ahead and pick up his first blue buff of the game. Fury still laying down the damage here in bot. Keeps pushing Martin, and Martin's been losing a little bit of the CS to the tower now, so still with pressure coming up to the top lane, but you like to see Crash make an appearance, trying to dissuade Fury and Yoon from playing aggressively. Hacker gonna go toe-to-toe here with Crash, but he's got that ward to get stretching strike on top of the Sejuani. That's a lot of damage coming on out from Knight, and that's going to force the flash out of Crash.
There's both of them putting down the damage, and the Miasma having to flash away just before that goes down is going to get Crash out alive. But pretty scary how much damage he just took there in one quick chunk. And he's not going to be a tanky Sejuani, at least for the next 5 to 10 minutes of the game. And Zach looking for something more here, again with Knight.
Yeah, Knight making his way on down to the bot lane. This is 4 members, maybe looking for a dive. Teleport's gonna come on in from EasyHoon to try and switch it around. Crash jumps on over the Let's Bounce.
Knight.
It's gonna catch out Caveman as Knight's able to pick up the double kill. Maybe looking for a little bit more. And Xiaoal has joined the fray with the Mega Gnar ultimate. And just like that, SNG are able to pick up 4 kills down in bot lane.
Really clean dive performed there by SNG, and Knight manages to land a multi-man ultimate. They all juggle aggro perfectly. That's going to be first tower, and 4 kills there to Suning Gaming. Only Long gets out alive, and it's because he did not have his TP available to come down, having burned it to get back to lane prior. And that's the only thing that stopped it from being an ace.
Like that, SNG are able to pick themselves up. The Mountain Drake on top of that, that's going to be a 4,000 gold lead as we just see this clean dive coming out from them again.
Once again, it's they managed to lock multiple people in place with the Miasma and the Petrifying Gaze. Hacker and Knight working in synergy, in tandem once again, as Yuri is pounding away at them with these Qs on the other side. And there's no escape as Zhao Al, the last one to tank up the turret, takes his only damage from the fight, slams Easy Hoon into the wall and walks away.
So we saw there, so that's going to be nice surge of gold going back over to SNG as they open up the gold lead here before the 15-minute mark. And it's a bit dangerous now because Fury's actually gone ahead and completed 2 items, and you're still looking at Martin, who's sitting at only his boots completed. Other than that, it's just got the recurve bow and the Vampiric Scepter. And with Fury actually going that Iceborne Gauntlet, it's a little bit of a counter against the Kalista because you get that slow down on her. It actually prevents her from, you know, that attack speed she's been looking for with the recurve bow. It's going to be really hard to 1v1 Fury.
Kalista on a little bit of a welfare build here, we can see, as you said, picking up the Berserker Greaves. Still very relevant, having built them from the magical footwear, so she's going to have a lot of movement speed. Having that extra tier on the boots from the magical footwear does give her that extra little bit of jump range, does make sure that with the attack speed she's going to be jumping that much more often. So she has a lot more survivability, she has the ability to dodge more skill shots and not be stuck to as easily by the Braum.
So VICI Gaming with their 4 spell books have yet to find the answer within those books, it seems, as they were unable to help out their bot lane, and this has gone bad to worse, it seems, because Fury already had himself a gold lead, and now he's going to be sitting at probably close to about 1,500 ahead of Martin. And SNG, they're looking to make more plays here. Easy Hoon does have his stopwatch to get out of here with the Realm Warp. The Let's Bounce going to come on through, and there's the stopwatch. Didn't have to ult, though, it seems, as Knight and Fury weren't looking for the dive.
I think you couldn't think about using ult then stopwatch very much there. He was just spamming stopwatch because he knew otherwise that kidnap would have come through from Hacker. He would have been pulled away and the Miasma would have locked him down. He'd have no chance to escape.
So you see SNG making plays around the map, even with Fury and them. They picked up the first tower, but you know, uncharacteristic it seems. They haven't rotated them up toward the top lane to try and accelerate the game a little bit more. Instead, just looking to keep farming out and try and prevent Martin from really doing anything. We see that gold total now pop up 2,500 gold. That's almost a full item ahead of Martin.
Interesting that they've not really chosen to pull off that lane swap just yet, but now they've picked up the Dragon fairly recently. They should be looking to have a lot more pressure around this bot side jungle. They know they've got this level advantage, and they're maybe just looking to try and get solo kills more so than these towers, but rotating up towards mid lane again onto Easy Hoon.
They want to just force them off this tower, it seems. They've rotated them on over, and Fury with the Sheen procs will be able to go through this pretty fast. And Easy Hoon, even on top of the Miasma, he wants to try and stay around. He does get that wave clear out, but another wave is going to crash on over. Crashes around to the side. On top of that, you got Caveman looking for a flank. That's going to be enough to force SNG off the tower.
So with the pressure they had into the bot side jungle, they utilized that and the fact that they could push the wave so deep to have the time to rotate mid lane. And instead of choosing to pull off that lane swap, they went for a different play here, and it's taken a big chunk from the mid lane tower. Now I think is the point where they have to recall and look to do the lane swap to play around Rift Herald, because a Rift Herald breaking open mid here could be so crucial.
Crash using the flash there, looks like preemptively, wasn't too sure whether or not the Fisher was going to connect onto him, and that's enough to get rid of his summoner for the next couple of minutes. So VICI Gaming looking to just play as defensive as possible, try and let this Rise scale up, and that Kalista at least have that Bork completed for Murray now. So has an item underneath his belt, but still has a long way to go, and Fury still dominating.
So it seems that Suning Gaming consider it within their interests to extend the laning phase for as long as possible.
That's gonna be a
on the other side,
TP.
VICI.
That's long coming into the bot lane, but Xiaoal, he's answered himself. Doesn't have that Mega Gnar just yet, but Hacker wants to join on in, and here we are. We're gonna be in for possibly that 4v4. Hacker not gonna find anything just yet. Does not use his Elastic Slingshot. Coming on through, isn't able to catch out the 4 members using the Realm Warp, as EasyHoon has joined the fray. SNG, even with a member down, are enough.
Oh, this is mid lane tower though.
Yeah, SNG, they got the inside track here. VICI Gaming, they're too late to respond. This should be the tower for SNG.
And the fact that they had to blow so much just to get down to the bot lane to stop that play going wrong ends up being Suning Gaming coming up better of it, getting this mid lane tower. And now maybe they can start looking towards the top lane. And really the thing was for them, they wanted to extend the laning phase for as long as possible because they want to deny those sort of plays for as long as possible. We know the Sejuani and the Ornn, they want to be making picks onto people. The Ryze wants to be roaming around the map, and if you've got a lot of towers down, if you've got a lot of open space to be able to make those plays, it becomes a lot easier to punish. But when you've extended the laning phase this long, you've kept bot lane, and you've got that tower to fall back on so quickly, it's a lot easier for Suning Gaming to keep the pressure up, keep scaling, and make sure that they get to the point in the game where they can be a lot safer before starting to make these roaming plays around the map. And now they've got these extra towers, they've got so much gold onto the key members, they can feel that they've got that safety to be able to lane swap.
You see that one ward providing a decent amount of value for VICI Gaming, spotting out the 3 members behind the Rift Herald pit. You've seen them now rotate the Ezreal and the Braum up toward that Rift Herald to maybe look for an attempt here before the Baron pops up within the next 2 minutes. Another thing to be scared about for SNG is now they got themselves that Mountain Drake and are looking to secure their second one. Having that on the Cassiopeia means they're going to be able to rip apart the Baron later on pretty fast, and VICI Gaming, they're letting a lot of this objective control go. There's not a whole lot they can do about this.
And with the pressure that Nars got able to push Ornn deep, it's going to give them the ability to just take this dragon for free. There's nothing really that they can do about it, and they've got to make a play on the other side of the map, and all they're getting really are these Raptors for Crash.
That's all he's able to get. He gets a little bit of gold back, but that's 2 Mountain Drakes on the side of SNG, and with that Cassiopeia,
yeah, it's burning Baron down so quickly.
Even on top of that, if they want to, they could even make that quick attempt on over to Rift Herald. You see, Crash is actually back. He wasn't spotted out on a ward. Hacker might be looking for the play, but he's spotted out on top of that. But look at this, SNG now going to rotate that Ezreal and that Braum into this choke point, look to try and take this Rift Herald within the next minute, possibly.
Yeah, the thing is, it can be stopped at least fairly easily, as Caveman could go in and then be ulted out by Martin, but just that ability to zone them off of the Rift Herald, even deny them for another 10-15 seconds, can be enough to make it despawn. So it's still a risky play. You could waste a lot of time by going for it.
Instead, just going to go for the invade and take away the blue buff from EasyHoon, and SNG still positioning 4 of their members toward the top side of the map. Now have that river lit up like a Christmas tree, as you can see about 7 wards coming out for them to try and protect Fury and Yoon from any possible attempts. Even Crash is going to get spotted out. It seems like Crash has been having to play so defensively this time around, has been able to make plays. Martin's going to throw in Caveman though, and it looks like SNG might be caught out. You got Hacker, you got Knight coming around the corner. Fury maybe wants to try and keep them interested. Long has actually entered, going to use that Call to Forge God after flashing on over the wall. It's going to knock up a couple members, but VICI Gaming, they're able to find a pick.
And that pick fairly crucial as well, because it zones them off of that Baron pit entirely, allows them to clear out some of the vision in the river and that Christmas tree. It's February now, it's a bit late for that.
Well, EasyHoon in that mid lane is going to be able to sidestep the elastic slang shot, or slingshot, oh my. We're losing our words up here, but VICI Gaming, they're not losing their cool as they're able to now pick up their first tower of the game and get a little bit back within that gold, still 4,000 down at 20 minutes.
They pick up some of that standing gold on the map, still sit around 4k in a disadvantage, and there's some key item spikes on members like Fury that are denying a lot of the pressure that VICI Gaming want to have, but at the same time, trying to get themselves at least back in the game. It's already starting to slip away from them though, because they need more plays like that one we just saw onto Yoon, but they need to get those onto key members consistently. And it's going to become harder and harder as the game goes on when we see more things like QSSs come through, when we see more tank items come through on people like Yoon, Hacker, and Zhao Al. And so it's VICI Gaming just trying to get some foothold on the map where they know they have an advantage over the opponent. And right now they don't have any.
So see SNG starting to group themselves up toward this choke point. Easy Hoon's gonna go on back to base. Doesn't have a teleport to get back here. Maybe only Martin could switch it out, but he's still in that mid lane just looking to clear out the waves and had to go cleanse at this point because he's too afraid of Knight going for that all-in. Has finished off his rune and so starting to get a little bit more power into this Callista finally. Getting to catch back up, and these team fights could go a little bit in their favor if they're able to find it. They just gotta be careful against Knight with this Cassiopeia that's already, you know, scaled up. He's got his 2 kills, 2 assists. He's farmed up beautifully here. He's sitting at 260 farm at 22 minutes. That guy's been on a tear, it seems. SNG, though, up in this top lane. Fury and Yoon are gonna be able to pick up the 3rd tower of the game for SNG.
And a big chunk of gold again going onto the Ezreal ADC, and we know when they set up for these sieges, if they can get onto this Baron buff, get that for themselves, the sieges are going to be so hard to stop because he's going to be poking for days. Everybody's going to be falling lower and lower on health bar. It's so hard to engage through an Iceborne Gauntlet Ezreal when he can constantly slow down your attempts going in, so it has to be
here we go, though. That all-in, like you mentioned, that's going to be Glacial Prison. Yoon's able to interrupt the call of the Forge God, and Hacker, his passive gets popped, and that's going to be now the turnaround coming on through. Caveman with a double knock-up with the Fate's Call, and just like that, VICI Gaming show that they can find a team fight in their favor. Knight, though, does answer the solo kill onto the support. Fury looking to clear out the minions, but a great turn here by VICI Gaming. Looking for a little bit Gnar. That's going to be the Gnar ultimate to slam Gnar into the tower. Long having to just scuttle away. Crash actually took aggro as the stopwatch was popped by the orb.
And it ends up being a 2-for-1 trade for VICI Gaming. They find the fight with Crash, with Long, finding those key ultimates onto the members to knock up multiple targets, but it was Caveman multiple times in that fight getting multi-man knockups. We saw the Callista knockup into the Pulverize, keeping them all locked up for such a long period of time to the point where the gold advantage they had didn't matter when they weren't able to put down any DPS. And we see here the knockup from Long into the knockup from Caveman. And they keep so many members locked in place where they aren't able to damage anybody but this Ornn. And that 4-man knockup onto all targets here. And they do lose Caveman for it, but it's so crucial to be able to get a chunk out of the mid lane tower, be able to prove to themselves that they can get these team fights to work. And if they get the wombo going like that again from Caveman, it's really hard to stop from Sunin.
As you saw there, if they're able to step forward from the miasma, they actually do have that team fight ability and have the way of getting the knockups into their favor. So SNG, even though they found themselves about 6,000 gold ahead, lose that team fight in mid lane after VICI Gaming find the opportunity. SNG, though, still get the vision coverage down toward the Baron, are going to be able to clear out what VICI Gaming just earned, you see. Have Crash and K-Man going to trade a ward up there. Some pings coming up toward that top lane. Still, though, 25 minutes about to crest. SNG hold themselves at about a 5,000 gold lead coming into possibly another Baron fight.
And it's definitely a lot more vision set up from VICI Gaming this time around, and it's their river to control. And because of these team fights coming through, it's so hard for Suning now to get back into position. They need to find a fight themselves, or at least a skirmish where they get an advantageous trade to start getting vision back on the map.
That might be one. He goes on in. Hacker's gonna catch out 3 members with the Let's Bounce, and Knight is just gonna clean up the kills. That's gonna be a double, make it a triple, and Easy Hoon, he's the next target. The rest of the team looking for the chase. They're not gonna be able to find the Winter's Bite to connect from Yoon, but just like that, triple kill coming in from Knight and SNG. They could even go possibly for a Baron.
Having taken down the jungler and both members of the bot lane, they're going to have Knight pressure out Easy Hoon and go on to the Baron here. No, with the 2 Mountain Dragons, it should be that much easier to take. With Fury so fed as well, having the lifesteal, it's not going to be hard for them, but they found the team fight they were looking for. The Earnest is now seemingly on the player who engages here, and it seems to be Hacker this time. Managed to get onto the backline, got the 3-man kidnap into the Miasma, and it was just too much for VICI Gaming to get away from. They lose a tower in the bot lane, but still, such a clean fight as we're going to see it again here.
You see Hacker just positioning himself over that wall, gets the flash over with that stretching strike, and that's what catches out Martin. That's huge.
3-man ultimate there, and that's going to lock up Martin, and it's going to lock up the jungler Crash there for long enough to be able to finish them off. And the 6-0-2 Cassiopeia now. Big threat, big constant sustained damage threat, and when you lack the AD carry that's going to be like like a Varus, like a Tristana, who's constantly going to be beating away on the front line or bursting people, you need some more sustained damage in the team. And having Knight pick up this Cassiopeia, having him be this big sustained damage threat with this much of a scoreline, it's effectively like having a second ADC.
See Fury and Hacker going to go ahead and pick up the 3rd dragon of the game for SNG. Going to have themselves an Ocean Drake, get a little bit of regen in their pockets, but like we mentioned, Knight now sitting on those 4 items, finishes off his Void Staff. He even saw that push in mid lane. He was able to go pretty aggressive onto long, and being the tanky member for VICI Gaming, he wasn't able to even stand close to Knight as he was trying to run away, and that's going to be a little bit difficult. They have to get that CC on top of Knight, but he's got that cleanse still available for the next team fight, so a lot of work to be done by VICI Gaming. That's going to be a teleport down into the bot side. VICI Gaming, they've committed a lot here to try and catch out Xiao. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to just jump away just yet. That's going to be the Call of the Forge God coming on out. Xiao actually doesn't even get used. That's 3 members of VICI Gaming down here in the bot lane looking for the kill. That's actually make it 4. They find the kill, but SNG, they get a free push in other sides.
Yeah, they do lose the side lane threat with the Baron buff though, so they're having to utilize Knight in the same effect. He's getting a big chunk here from the top lane tower. Fury collapsing as well. They should be able to get this one and back off, so they lose 1 member, but they pick up a big inner tower on the other side of the map. And now it has to be the considering what did they gain by sending 4 members to that bot side. They get Xiao off of the map. They basically means that Xiao's Baron buff is over. He can't utilize any at all to help his team. He can't utilize it at all to push a side lane, and now it's going to mean that it's forcing the members back, forcing them to deal with that bot lane and start pushing that out themselves, gives them the time to reset, and they don't lose any more. But if they didn't go for that play, they perhaps could have defended the tower. They perhaps could have tried to save that objective from falling, and then just wait out the rest of the Baron buffs. So it's really a risk versus reward play. They went all in on the risk, and they ended up coming out negatively on that.
You gotta kind of wonder, even though they got rid of that Baron buff, there's only about 20 seconds left on it for SNG, so even getting that off Xiao wasn't too important. Looking just mainly for that pick. Still ahead by 8,000 goals. We get a quick check at that gold, and 3,000 on the carries. That Cassiopeia, the Ezreal, just so far ahead. Then get a little bit of tanky stats onto your supports and your top laner for Xiao and Yoon, and SNG are sitting pretty, but they gotta look to try and maybe finish this game out. You got a big lead here. What can you do to try and now open up another inhibitor for the side of SNG? How do you crack open VICI Gaming's base? Are you gonna wait for another Baron, or is it gonna be another team fight that you're able to pick off multiple members?
Or if they can continue pushing the waves deep, if they can continue get advantages in terms of this wave pressure, they can get vision across the map, they can get vision deep into the enemy jungle, as we see VICI playing so well around this defensive vision. By having that, they deny Hacker the ability to start a team fight. So it means the Earnest is more, again, on the Baron buff and waiting around for that play, waiting to see if they can bait VICI Gaming beyond the point of the their own jungle. And the moment they step out, the moment they step beyond the river, is where Hacker's looking for these plays. So they've got to consistently push in, get rid of the vision in the opposing jungle, and find these picks.
We see Knight and Fury making their way down toward this bot lane, and you can see that AP scaling on Knight for his auto attacks on top of the Sheen procs from Fury can just shred down that tower. Crash has to be a little bit careful. That True Shot Barrage is able to cut him down to about 1,000 health, and the rest of the team now looking to keep up the push here toward the inhibitor tower. The Miasma and Hacker is actually tanking up the turret, but the engage comes out from Caveman. Fury gets caught out by the Glacial Prison. Long has yet to use his Call of the Forge God. The Let's Bounce is gonna bring Caveman back on top of multiple members. That's gonna be the kill going on over to Fury. Long running for the hills as Yoon is able to stop the Call of the Forge God. Double kill coming out from the Ezreal. Easy Hoon, he's running it for as far as he can. Xiao All is able to land the boomerang. Double kill coming out from Knight. SNG, they're able to pick up 4 kills in the ball lane on top of the inhibitor.
They get on top of Knight and Hacker, but those two, Knight with the tank item on top of the Seraph's Embrace Shield keeps himself safe. Hacker not taking any damage at this point in the game. Zhao Al turns up at the perfect time to be able to help them chase down the opponents. He's exhausted at the time he stays in Mininar. He can stick to you that much easier, and that's going to be the end of the game. Off of 4 members going down for VICI.
Easy Hoon, he can't do anything like that. SNG are going to go ahead and take game 1 over VICI Gaming after finding a couple good fights in that bot lane just team fight. It looked like VICI Gaming had that opportunity. We talked about the engage coming out from Caveman being a possible win condition for those fights, but it just wasn't enough. They were a little bit too far down in the gold.
Oh, valiant effort from Caveman, definitely played so well on this Alistair pick, and I think they should be looking again to pick it up next game, maybe even have it banned away from them in the next game, because he performed to such a high degree on it. But it had to be thinking about what happened in that early laning phase, where the Braum just completely shut down any pressure that Kalista would have had, and it led to them getting solo killed that early, and from there, it was just all to the side of Suning Gaming. You can see it in the gold graph. There was never a moment in the game in which VICI Gaming were in the lead.
Can also see that damage to champions tonight, and Fury being the main carries for SNG on that Cassiopeia and Ezreal. And we didn't even get to mention, you know, that Cassiopeia sits at still 100% win rate after 9 games played. It's a very powerful champion. It's played by multiple teams into multiple matchups. So you gotta wonder, you know, why isn't this popping up a little bit more? Seems to be more of a niche pickup for the teams, but that Miasma could be so powerful during those fights.
And we saw it definitely in the combination with Hacker in this game. Hacker coming through instead of Tien this game. Tien known for more aggressive style junglers. So going onto the tank pick like the Zac, showing up big with those kidnaps in fights as well. Definitely a good thing seen here from Suning. It is against VICI, who aren't really the strongest team in the league. But still, it's playing this composition and playing to their win condition well enough that there's things to look forward to for Suning Gaming. They've definitely shown a lot more strength.
Well, for us now, guys, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, but when we come back, it's going to be game 2 between VICI Gaming and SNG. Stick around. We'll be right back.
find myself. Can't find myself. Can't find myself. I can't find myself. Can't find myself. Can't find myself. I stayed awake last night, 'cause I couldn't close my eyes and see you another night. I drove myself crazy thinking you'd take my wildest dreams and tear them all to the ground. So I tried to create a decoy world for you to destroy in my mind. You can stay and believe you're tearing me apart while I'm coming to life, while I'm coming to life. You can stay and believe you're tearing me apart while I'm coming to life, while I'm coming to life. I couldn't keep the secret. You found my darkest demons and brought them out in the light. So I ran to all the preachers, despite having every reason to shut down and mobilize. So I pray to the gods for one last saving grace against all odds. And I built an escape using all my energy just to come back to life, back to life. And I built an escape using all my energy just to come back to life, back to life.
See. All right, and after a little bit of those tech issues on both ends of the stream, we're going to go ahead and get into Game 2 between VICI Gaming and SNG. Sides are going to remain the same here as we get into Champion Select, and they're already pretty far ahead, so we're going to catch up. Zoe, Camille, and Callista banned out by VICI Gaming. SNG going to get rid of that Shen, the Kog'Maw, and the Azir we've seen a couple times, and these guys are flying through the pick and bans here. VICI Gaming this time around going to go ahead and be the ones that lock in that Ezreal. Meanwhile, SNG going to respond with the Jarvan and the Braum.
So Braum again, a fairly safe laner, and he's going to be doing fairly well into the Tahm Kench. Generally, Braum really good into melee matchups, so he can get those auto attacks off easier, can start proccing that concussive blows. But picking up the Varus as well, a late game scaling threat that's going to be able to beat away at a front line of Caveman and Crash quite effectively. It's going to be good here, but we need to see something to follow up on this Jarvan. He can't just be ulting and then relying purely on Knight to do the damage in the center. He needs something along the lines of an AoE mage, like the Ryze, like the Orianna, even like the Cassiopeia that we saw last game, and a top laner who can at least help set up the CC.
Now seeing here as we get into our second phase of bans, gonna be that Gnar banned out by SNG, and on top of that, that Ryze was expecting maybe another mid lane ban actually come out from SNG since VICI Gaming have not shown it, but he's even pretty confident on his champions, just want to get rid of his mains. Still has that Malzahar option available if SNG don't take it here in the first rotation. VICI Gaming though, doing the exact same as we saw last time around, banning out the Vladimir and Alawi away from Xiaowao.
He has had success on both of these champions, so it's understandable to ban those away. Make sure his pool is a little bit less comfortable. but it generally just means that, okay, he's going to play Ornn rather happily. Long showed that he couldn't really punish him on the Ornn that effectively, even when he was playing the Na matchup. It shows that he can't really punish an Ornn effectively. In the Na matchup the other way around, it was Zhao Al able to beat on Long. So he's trying to say, okay, what do you play on the other side? We've banned away the Na. We have the Ornn. What do you have in your pocket?
Well, Ornn gets picked up by SNG and VICI Gaming. They say, hey, we're going to bring out the Trundle here. As that's going to be
the better ice pillow.
Exactly, and the other thing too, this is the first time we've seen Trundle in the LPL this season. You can see those pick rates across to the bottom. Nobody picking it up just yet, so we'll have to see how this one performs. And for VICI Gaming, what do they want to try and round out the comp? Since SNG prioritized that Ornn, they left open that Malzahar. It's going to get locked in for Easyhoon.
Okay, this is one of the moments where I personally want to see a Gangplank mid make a comeback, but that's just a pipe dream, and we're going to see something fairly safe in the mid lane most likely, just something that can scale up and not have to worry about Malzahar too much in terms of wave pressure. So we could see something along the lines of Talia, we could see something along the lines of the Cassiopeia again if they wanted, but instead it's going to be the Corki. Another late game scaling pick. We've seen more and more of this rising back up because so many of the games are going to these late game fights. And having a crit based ADC as your mid laner to follow up on the fact that you've got an attack speed on hit AD carry, to keep that burst in your team, to keep the ability to shred people with auto attacks, could be very crucial. Now for me, it's how well Long can actually bully the side lane of Zhao Al. And if he can become this big split push threat that we know Trundles have been in the past, we think about players like Duke and how well he has played on the Trundle and how well SKT used that in the past. But we got to think, is VICI going to be able to emulate some of the success of that, or are they going to end up falling behind early and really struggling to get back into the game as we saw last time around?
We'll have to see. This time, too, you got that Jarvan instead of a Zac, so you can be a little bit more aggressive into the Sejuani matchup, so possibly Hacker can take over the jungle if he decides to do so and try and get some early invades. We didn't see it too often. Mainly Hacker and Crash only kind of spotted each other a couple times early. Other than that, it was mainly just ganks and those big team fights that we saw from the Zac, and they're not going to have that tool like they did last time around with the Let's Bounce.
It was kind of the furthest they really pushed was one jungler being able to take over the river. And that was placing wards down based on whether the lane pressure was there or not. It wasn't really around the jungle pressure. And this time around, with a lot more even matchups, we could see jungle pressure be a factor. Now, I'm excited to see how this Corki does in lane and if he can stay safe enough from this Sejuani, but likely having to have gone cleansed to try and survive the potential of a Sejuani gank and get away, because we know how strong these Malzahar pick lanes can be.
We'll have to see as we are going to go ahead and load up for Game 2 between VICI Gaming and SNG. SNG looking to take us through a quick 2-0, and you can see a pretty quiet arena this time around on a weekday. Not too unexpected here, as a lot of people still
all 6 people in the audience.
All 6 people in the audience. Hey, you can't hate it though. You got
at least they're not doing the SPO TV thing where they actually they pay people to come in and sit in the seats.
Oh, I don't know too much about that, but we're gonna load on into the rift for game 2 here. Gonna be a Cloud Dragon to start things off. SNG looking to make it a 2-0, and then we'll get a full series of the Snake Esports and LGD, as that is taking place, I believe, over in LGD's arena this time around. I think it's the first time we've seen Snake and LGD match up, and you can see those runes coming out. Only the single spell book this time around coming out from VICI Gaming. Decided, hey, that didn't work too well. Let's just try and get a little bit more of our, preferred keystones, you could say. Nothing too out of the ordinary.
You can open the books, but if you don't know how to read, you're not really going to get anything from them.
Exactly.
So Gaming struggled with that.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah, going for the Guardian here in the bot lane, which is going to keep Martin that much more safe in the early game. Both of the supports going for that one for those early game shenanigans, should we say.
Have to see as we have the minions crash on through. It's going to be the fleet footwork for both Knight and Fury. We've seen the Viruses take the Unbound, but instead looking to be a little bit more combative or sustained into the lane, as Martin was able to pick up that Ezreal this time around. You can see VICI Gaming fan vote heavily in their favor. SNG fans are wanting a game 3, it seems, or the fan votes coming on through for Easyhoon and people along the lines of Crash along those. SNG playing the dark horse, it seems. The crowd enemy. You could say the very least. Hacker maybe making his way up toward this top lane as Long does go aggressive. Xiaoal maybe trying to drag him on over. Still no level 2 yet hit for the Ornn. Gonna wait for those flash forward from Hacker. Xiaoal going down very low. That's gonna be first blood picked up from Hacker with the flag drag combo.
And a decent first blood pickup. Ornn willing to use a lot of his health bar just to bait in Long there, and ends up working out. Xiaoal sits comfortably in the lead now, having picked up that first kill, gets to pick up the rest of the wave uncontested. So you look in the mid lane here, and interestingly, we see absolute focus coming out from the Corki. Not something we see all that often. That's when you are above 70% HP, you get bonus AD and AP. And the Gathering Storm as well, really buying into that late game scaling. So all they've got to do is try and survive that mid game, and they know they outscale the opponents. It's just whether Crash and EasyHoon can force these plays, whether they can really pressure out multiple people in those early stages of the laning phase. And it's not really anything happening thus far. We're kind of waiting room for level 6. But having the Gathering Storm available really speaks to the fact that they know when they're strongest.
Popping up here as we go 3.5 minutes. You got Hacker with that first blood already. We'll see how he's able to apply that pressure elsewhere on the map. We talk about that Jarvan possibly being able to take over Crash very easily if he decides to play aggressively. The thing going in VICI's favor is mainly their bot lane, at least being the ones able to push up here, so it kind of prevents Hacker from being able to do a whole lot. Might decide to make a gank in, and this is now the issue for Long. He's got to wait until about level 6 until he's going to be able to really go for an all-in against Xiaoal as he fell behind early.
I'm surprised we're not seeing the Unsealed Spellbook come out from Xiaoal. Oh, sorry, Unsealed Spellbook, rather. Seeing the Minion Dematerializer come out from Xiaoal in the Inspiration